He gave her a second chance at life. She gave him a reason to question everything. Derek Whitmore had always been the solid one, dependable, patient, the kind of man who showed love in quiet ways. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady. For nearly 15 years, he had built his life around Lena, her needs, her career, her family. And when her kidneys began to fail, there wasn't even a moment of hesitation. He got tested in secret. When the results came back that he was a match, he told her they'd be going through it together. No drama, no ceremony, just love. The surgery was hard on both of them, but the relief that followed made it all worth it. Lena recovered quickly. Derek smiled through the pain, even as his body adjusted to life with one kidney. He was happy. They both were, or so he believed. That was a year ago. Now, he sat at their kitchen table in Richmond, Virginia, staring at Lena as if seeing her for the first time. Her hands trembled around a chipped mug. The silence between them was louder than any argument they had ever had. "I didn't plan to," she whispered. Derek didn't blink. "You cheated on me." She nodded, eyes brimming. The betrayal hit harder than any knife ever could. It wasn't just the affair. It was the timing. The cold, brutal reality that while he was healing, while he was proud of saving her, she was sleeping with someone else. "Why?" His voice cracked. "I don't know," Lena said, barely audible. "I felt alive again. I felt like myself." Derek laughed bitterly. "So, to celebrate your life, you destroyed mine?" She flinched. He stood up slowly, gripping the edge of the table to steady himself. "Who is he?" Lena looked away. "It doesn't matter." "It does to me." She hesitated. "It was someone from the gym." Of course. The gym. While he was too sore to move, she'd started going out more, getting stronger, looking better. He had been proud of her, encouraged her. And now it all made sense. The late nights, the extra showers, the distant look in her eyes. The worst part wasn't the cheating. It was that she didn't stop. He found out not because she confessed, but because of a message she forgot to delete. A single line on her screen while she was in the shower. "Can't stop thinking about last night." He had stared at it, hoping it was from a friend, hoping it was a mistake. But it wasn't. And now, standing in the same kitchen where he once made her soup after surgery, he felt like the biggest fool in the world. "I gave you a part of me," he said, voice low. "And you gave it to someone else." Lena didn't cry. Not when he left. Not when he came back the next morning without a word. Not even when he passed her in the hallway like she was a stranger in their own home. She knew she didn't have the right to cry. Derek didn't ask where she had gone the night before. He didn't ask if she'd slept. He simply walked into the kitchen, made coffee, poured one mug, and left the other untouched. The silence was louder than any screaming match. He spent the day doing the kinds of things men do when they're trying not to fall apart. He washed the car, organized tools he didn't use, took out trash that didn't need taking out. That night, she spoke. "I ended it." He didn't look up. "I deleted everything, blocked him. It's over." He finally raised his eyes. "It should have never started." Lena swallowed hard. "I know." Derek left the room. In the days that followed, they moved like ghosts. He slept in the guest room. She folded his laundry without speaking. They passed each other like two people waiting for different elevators. But it couldn't last. Not like that. One evening, as Derek stood at the sink washing dishes, she approached him. Her voice was thin. Can I tell you everything? He didn't want to hear it, but he nodded. They sat down. Same table, same kitchen. Everything familiar, everything wrong. It started 6 months after the surgery. Lena said, I was still recovering. I felt disconnected from myself, like I owed everyone something I couldn't name. Derek stared at her. You owed me honesty. She looked down. I know. I was scared, not of you, of how small I felt. And when he started talking to me, noticing me, I felt like I had control again. I felt strong. You were never weak to me, he said quietly. Lena wiped her face. I wanted to tell you, so many times. But every day that passed, the lie got heavier. And then, it wasn't just about him. It was about who I'd become. Derek leaned back. Do you love him? She didn't answer right away. Number, I don't even know if I ever did. He nodded slowly, absorbing the words like stones in his gut. I'm sorry, she said. That doesn't fix it, he replied. I know. He stood up, paused, then said, I need time. She didn't beg. She didn't chase. She just watched him walk away. Derek didn't leave the house. Not yet. But he left the room every time she entered. Spoke only when necessary. Kept himself busy fixing things that weren't broken. Lena didn't push. She gave him space. She moved quietly, cooked meals she knew he liked, and left his plate on the counter. Most nights, it stayed untouched. One night, she heard the front door open and close after midnight. He didn't come back until morning. He didn't say where he'd gone, and she didn't ask. She had no right to ask. It had been 3 weeks since the truth came out. Derek still hadn't told anyone. Not friends, not family. He carried it alone, not to protect her, but to protect himself from the shame of explaining what she had done. On a Sunday morning, Lena found him sitting on the back steps, staring at the grass. I made an appointment with a counselor, she said softly. He didn't look at her. For yourself? For both of us. I'm not ready for us. I know, she said, but I'm going. He gave a small nod. Good. She walked away, tears pressing at the corners of her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Not this time. Therapy didn't change everything. But it gave her a place to speak, to listen, to unravel the reasons she hadn't dared examine before. She didn't tell Derek everything that was said in those sessions, just that she was learning how to sit with her guilt without letting it define her. Derek began running again, early in the mornings when the streets were still dark. He said it helped him think, helped him feel something other than anger. They kept their distance. But occasionally, the silence would soften. One night, they both reached for the same dish towel and their hands touched. It was a small thing, but Lena noticed the way he didn't pull away immediately. A few days later, he asked, Are you still seeing her? Lena blinked. You mean the counselor? He nodded. Yes, every week. He looked at her for a long moment. Good. The next morning, there was coffee waiting for her on the counter. One mug, black, just how she liked it. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. They never talked about the affair again. Not directly, not out loud. But the shadows of it hung in every quiet room, every empty glance. And yet, something unspoken was shifting. Derek started coming home earlier. He asked her if she needed anything from the store. She left the porch light on for him when he ran late. They sat at the same dinner table again, though not always at the same time. It wasn't healing. Not yet. But it was contact. One night, he asked her if she still wore the necklace he bought her 5 years ago. She reached for her collarbone, surprised by the question. She hadn't worn it since the night he found out. I keep it in the drawer, she said. He nodded. You should wear it again if you want. She didn't wear it the next day, but she polished it, just in case. At therapy, Lena talked about the silence, how Derek was present but guarded. The counselor asked, "What do you want from him?" "I want him to see that I'm still here," she said. "That I'm trying." "And what if he never can?" Lena didn't answer. Meanwhile, Derek found himself replaying old memories. Their first road trip, the time she cried during a movie and pretended she wasn't, the way she used to fall asleep during storms only if he held her hand. He missed her, but he didn't trust her, and that gap was wide. One afternoon, she left a note on the fridge. Just 6 words. "I know I broke something sacred." She didn't sign it, didn't expect a reply. That night, he sat beside her on the couch. They didn't speak. They just watched a rerun of a show they once loved. Her eyes welled up, but she didn't let herself cry. Derek didn't take her hand, but he didn't leave the room either. For the first time in months, she slept without checking if he'd locked the door. He was still there in the morning. Spring came slowly that year. Rainy mornings, warm afternoons. Lena started planting herbs in the windowsill again. It was a small thing, but it made the kitchen smell like life. Derek noticed. He didn't say anything, but she saw him lean in slightly when he passed the basil. They were no longer walking on glass, just quietly building something. Or maybe salvaging what hadn't been completely destroyed. One Friday evening, Derek came home with takeout from her favorite Thai place. He didn't ask, just set it on the table and said, "Hungry?" She nodded. They ate in silence, comfortable silence. After dinner, they washed dishes together. She handed him a towel. Their fingers touched. This time, he didn't pull away. Later that night, he spoke. "I've been thinking," he said, "about what it means to forgive someone." She looked at him, waiting. "I don't think forgiveness means pretending it didn't happen," he said, "or saying it was okay. It just means I'm choosing to keep going anyway." Lena's throat tightened. "You don't have to decide now." "I haven't decided anything," he said, "but I'm tired of hating you." She whispered, "I'm tired of hating me too." The next morning, she made pancakes, his favorite, with blueberries. When he sat down, she poured his coffee without asking. For the first time in a long time, he said, "Thanks." They began talking again, not about the affair, but about bills, errands, her mother's upcoming birthday, normal things, human things. One evening, they sat on the porch together. A breeze moved through the trees. Lena said, "I know I don't deserve a second chance." Derek didn't answer right away. "Maybe not," he said, "but neither of us can go back, only forward." She nodded slowly. "So, what does forward look like?" He stared into the sky. "I don't know, but I think we start with showing up." And for the first time in a long time, they were both there. Summer arrived quietly, the kind where morning light slips in without asking, and the air smells like cut grass and old memories. Derek didn't say he forgave her, not once. But he was still there. He still made coffee, still came home, still kissed her forehead once, absent-mindedly, as he passed her in the kitchen. It nearly broke her in the best way. One evening, Lena sat across from him at the dinner table, watching the way his hands moved. Steady, worn, familiar. "I know I hurt you in a way I can't undo," she said. He met her eyes. "I don't expect you to forget. I just hope one day you'll remember more than just the worst of me." Derek didn't speak for a long time. Then slowly, he reached across the table. His fingers closed around hers. "I remember," he said, voice low. I remember everything. That night they sat on the porch together, watching the stars. Their hands touched. Not held, just touched. Lena exhaled. The world hadn't ended. They had bent, not broken. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But tonight, they were choosing each other. And sometimes, that was enough. Some stories don't end with fireworks or grand declarations. Some stories survive. If this one touched you, if you've ever held on when it would have been easier to walk away, consider leaving a like. Maybe even subscribe. Not every love story is perfect, but some are worth the fight.